The U.S. Navy sells its old aircraft carriers for just 1 penny. These massive ships, symbols of American naval power, are sold for less than the price of candy. Maintaining an aircraft carrier is incredibly expensive. They require constant care, repairs, and a large crew even when inactive. The Navy sells these carriers to shipbreaking companies. It's a practical solution, allowing materials to be recycled. Imagine trying to maintain a small city that floats on water. That's what it's like to keep an aircraft carrier running. The sheer size of these ships means huge costs for fuel, paint, metal replacement, and a host of other maintenance tasks. Then there's the issue of personnel. Even without a full crew, a skeleton team of skilled technicians and engineers is needed to keep the ship's systems operational. These teams need to be paid, housed, and provided with resources, adding to the already high costs. Furthermore, aircraft carriers are designed for a specific lifespan of active service. As they age, their systems become outdated and require increasingly expensive repairs or replacements. The cost of modernization can be prohibitive, especially for a ship that's no longer on the front lines. It's simply not financially viable for the Navy to keep these aging giants in shape, especially when the funds could be used for newer, more capable vessels. Two recent examples of aircraft carriers sold for a penny are the USS Kitty Hawk and the USS John F. Kennedy. Both ships were decommissioned in the 2000s after decades of service. Despite efforts to turn them into museums, both were eventually sold to a shipbreaking company in Texas. The USS Kitty Hawk, commissioned in 1961, was a veteran of the Vietnam War and other conflicts. The USS John F. Kennedy, commissioned in 1968, also had a long and distinguished career. Both carriers were marvels of engineering for their time, but their time had come to an end. The process of dismantling a carrier is complex and time-consuming. It involves carefully removing hazardous materials, such as asbestos and old fuel, before the ship can be scrapped. While it's sad to see these ships go, their sacrifice allows for the metal and other materials to be recycled and used in new construction projects. Section 4. Public interest and funding challenges. Turning an aircraft carrier into a museum might seem like a great idea, but it faces significant challenges. First and foremost is the issue of public interest. While many people appreciate the historical significance of these ships, only a small percentage would be willing to visit a museum dedicated to one. This lack of widespread interest translates into a lack of funding. Maintaining a carrier museum would require a constant stream of revenue, not just from ticket sales, but also from donations, grants, and government support. Securing this level of funding is a daunting task, especially for a project with limited public appeal. Even existing naval museums face an uphill battle to stay afloat financially. They often struggle to cover operating costs, let alone the massive expenses associated with preserving a giant aircraft carrier. The reality is that without a sustainable funding model, a carrier museum is simply not feasible. Section 5. The Nuclear Challenge. Decommissioning the Enterprise. Decommissioning nuclear-powered carriers presents greater challenges. The USS Enterprise, CVN-65, the first nuclear-powered carrier, was decommissioned in 2012 after over 50 years of service. Dismantling a nuclear-powered ship is complex and delicate. The Enterprise's 8 reactors still contain radioactive material that must be handled with care. This process is time-consuming, expensive, and requires specialized facilities. The Navy aims to dismantle the Enterprise safely, minimizing environmental impact.